So, yeah, you will recognize loved ones in heaven. Now, the next part of the question was, will you not know those that didn't make it? And I think the point here is, how can you be happy knowing that there are people who rejected God and are not there with you in heaven? And I think perhaps the best way to think of this is, I think that when you see that what God does in the end with everything and everyone, that it is the right thing, that it's the way it should be, you will be pleased with that. Okay? You will say, okay, this person that I knew and I even loved him in the world, he rejected God. He didn't love God. He didn't want to be with God. And so God said, okay, I'm not going to force you to be with me because I'm not a rapist. I will give you what you want. And so it's the right thing to do. And so you will accept that as the right thing, and you will be pleased with God's justice and his righteousness forever. I know that in this world where our emotions are attached to slanted objectives, it's hard for us to get our minds around that idea. I understand that. And maybe it doesn't register that way right now. How can I possibly be happy if somebody that I love so dearly is lost forever? But again, if you think about it as I just described it, that God is going to do the right thing no matter what. And the Bible says that the right thing is for God's justice to be meted out, and that means that he allows humans to come to him, and he allows humans to refuse to come to him. And that is the right thing to do. And so why would he force somebody to be with him who doesn't want to be with him? That's the whole issue. God doesn't force anybody to be with him because he wants a loving relationship, a relationship of mutual love. And so that implies that he allows people to make that decision. I know that that's maybe not completely satisfactory to you, but maybe it is. But I see that it is certainly theologically appropriate, and I think it's biblically sound. Maybe we need to learn better, even in this world, to try to accommodate God's worldview into our hearts more and our own selfish ambitions less. See, it would be kind of selfish of us if we really stop and think about it to say, okay, my loved one does not want to be with God, but I want him to be with God or her to be with God. And so I wish I could force that. I wish I could force them. But do you really? That seems pretty selfish. You don't have a right to do that. And so it might be a little bit difficult to think of it in those terms, but that's really seems like what's being done whenever you want somebody to be saved, but they don't want to be saved. And God gives everybody sufficient evidence, sufficient reason, a sufficient invitation to make the proper decision. And so there's not going to be anybody who's lost, and it's because they didn't have the opportunity. The Bible says that God desires all people to be saved and to come to a knowledge of the truth, and he's long-suffering, allowing them to do so, and he gives them sufficient grace to do so. Romans 1:20 and 21. The creation of the world, his invisible attributes, his eternal deity is seen, but there are people who are in their rebellion and they're in their selfishness, and they refuse to see it. And so don't think that because somebody's lost that it's somebody else's fault, or it's because you didn't want them to be saved or God doesn't want them to be saved. It's because they rejected the truth.